Blog Talk Radio.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm your host, Ted Odorico, and welcome to the show, the first show of 2016. I hope everybody had a great holiday, and glad that you're able to join me back here on the first show of the new year, and I want to thank you for joining me live. And let me just, before I read some of the opening statements and whatnot for the show tonight, let me just apologize for my voice sounding a little bit off tonight. Kind of suffering from, I guess, a cross-pollination, if you will, of a little of Barry White and a little bit of Peter Brady from the Brady Bunch, if those of you that might remember that episode when he was going through puberty and his voice kept cracking and going high and low. So I might do a little bit of that tonight. So even though I'm well past those years, not sure what's going to happen tonight. So I apologize for being a little bit hoarse, but I'm not sure if it's a little combination of laryngitis or something happening here, but it's been the last couple of days. So I apologize, excuse me, if my voice is a little bit hoarse tonight. As I said, welcome to 2016. Again, I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm certainly excited to be back on the air again. Of course, I was on earlier this week on Tuesday morning on the Women of Golf show. Of course, you know, any of you that tune into this program also know that on Tuesday mornings, I co-host with my good friend, LPGA professional Cindy Miller. We co-host a morning program for an hour, 9 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, called the Women of Golf Show, where we have an opportunity to talk to some great legends of the game, of course, everybody from Kathy Whitworth to Rosie Jones, Carol Mann, and many, many others that we've had, plus some up-and-comers on the Symetra Tour. We had a great opportunity to interview a number of them last year and hoping to do some more again this year. But that was actually our first official show, if you will, but this is my first Golf Talk Live broadcast of the new year. Let me also remind everybody, for those of you that may be just tuning in for the first time, the show normally airs from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Thursday evenings at Golf Talk Live. Tonight it's going to be a little bit shorter. I just have the one guest on for the first hour, and then I have a few comments and things. I'm going to wrap up the show. So it'll be a little bit over an hour. It won't be the full 2 hours tonight. It probably won't be for a couple of weeks yet. And I'll do some announcements here in just a moment. But let me, as I said, just remind everybody that normally the show is 6 to 8 Central Standard Time or 7 to 9 for those of you on Eastern Standard Time. And best way to find us, of course, is go to blogtalkradio.com. And up in the search key, you can type Golf Talk Live, and that will take you to the main page. And, of course, the live broadcast is always at the top of the page. And for some reason, if you're not able to, join us during the live broadcast, that's not a problem. All of the programs, as I've always mentioned in the past, are auto-recorded. So if you're not able to tune in during the live segments, you can certainly go to blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live. Again, there's that link, blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live, and you can actually scroll down a little bit on the page to the on-demand section, and that will have all of the previously aired broadcasts, and you can listen to them, of course, at your leisure. Anytime during the live show, we want to really get some more audience interaction this year in 2016. You can do so by calling in at area code 646-716-4667. Or you can also email any questions or comments to me personally on the show at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Always enjoy getting some great feedback and comments there. And also, for those of you in the golf industry, if you're interested in sharing, some of your thoughts and input about the show or golf in general, you're welcome to reach out to me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com, and we'll see about setting up and getting you on as a guest on the show. Also, you can get updates for the show on social media. Always update on a number of pages, including my own personal page on Facebook. Obviously, go to facebook.com. The main page is Golf Talk Live blog. Make sure you have blog on the end there. And if you haven't done so already, I really appreciate it if you like the page while you're visiting there. And you're welcome to post any comments about the show or any questions if you have. Always review the page every day, so I'll certainly see that there. You can also get me on Twitter as well. I update the show there at Ted and Buck CEO, and CEO is in capital letters. That's TEDANDBUCK, and then CEO in capital letters. That's my Twitter handle. Certainly always follow the show through Twitter as well, if that's your social media platform of your choice. And by all means, you're welcome to follow me there. You'll get updates as well on the upcoming shows. And as I said, I've got a lot of great things I'm going to talk about here tonight. And my special guest tonight is Carolyn Sammarro. She is the co-founder of B-Skinz.com, and she's also an expert on Your Power in Color. So we're going to talk about a few things. She obviously, her and her partner have a clothing line, an activewear line, and we'll talk about that in some great detail tonight here in the next hour. But she's also an expert on color and the importance that color really does play in our lives. A lot of people don't understand that. And it also, we're going to tie it all in with golf, and you'll understand as we go along how color can actually help you, believe it or not, on the golf course. We'll talk about that as well. And I think we might be joined a little bit later by a good friend of mine and Carolyn's, Pat Boomer, who you know has been on the show as well. In fact, they were on the Women of Golf show late last year together. And Pat is the business boomer. She's a great media expert and does a lot to help grow this game, particularly with business types and that, but women also as well. Does a lot of great work, and she's working on a number of expos and that, golf expos up in the northeastern part. She's from New Jersey, as Carolyn is. And they, of course, have become good friends over the years and are working, collaborating together on a number of different projects. So we'll talk about them as the show progresses. But certainly look forward to having some great discussion with Carolyn, and I see that she is ready to go. So let me just do a quick intro here, and then I'll bring Carolyn on the show. As I mentioned, Carolyn Sammarro is the co-founder of B-Skinz.com, and she's an expert on Your Power in Color. Let me just tell you a little bit more about Carolyn. She it was developed in 2007, the business B-Skinz. And as I said, it's a women's activewear manufacturer with a showroom located in Boonton, New Jersey. She's also a member of the Rockaway River Country Club in New Jersey, so obviously an avid golfer, and certainly appreciates the needs of busy women who desire some flexible fashions that make them feel both great on and off the golf course. The company specializes in travel-friendly collections and produces everything here in the U.S., which is great. Most recently, the club collection line of golf, tennis, skorts, and dresses focuses on providing women with beautiful, elegant patterns and garments that require very little maintenance, which I know a lot of the ladies that are going to be tuning in tonight are looking forward to that, and Carolyn will talk a little bit more detail about some of the specifics there. She's revered as an expert consultant to the resort and pro shop buyers, as well as women's shopping for themselves and families. Her goal is to teach as many women as possible to share what can be a life-altering color communication advice. And B-Skinz' colorful library of patterns is the perfect place to test out her clients' specific color needs. She's also a longtime resident of historic Mountain Lakes, New Jersey, where she resides, of course, with her husband and 3 children. Without further ado, let me bring on Carolyn Sammarro. Good evening, Carolyn. How are you? Hi, good evening, Carolyn. Oh, I guess that wasn't Carolyn. My apologies. Let me just try that again. I apologize. I think we might have lost the connection there. I'll wait for her to come back on, and once she does, then I'll bring her back on live again. For some reason, it didn't connect. Lots of great things going to be happening in 2016 here on Golf Talk Live, and I'll talk about those after I have my interview with Carolyn. And as I said, I'm just waiting for her to reconnect with me here live. And I think that we've got her now. Hang on one second. Good evening, Carolyn. How are you?
Hey, Ted. This is Pat.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Pat. All right. Well, Pat, you actually
my
made it.
I was calling in to be a good listener. Hi.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to keep you on the line anyways. We'll talk. I guess I thought it was Carolyn. I apologize. I didn't recognize the number right away. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, my good friend Pat Boomer. Pat Roque, the business boomer. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up.
That's okay. Everybody calls me Pat Boomer.
I think we should just call you that. Pat, of course, was on with Cindy Miller and I and Carolyn Sammarro back about a month and a half ago, just before the holidays, on the other program that I produce, the Women of Golf Show, and talked about some of the great things that she is doing to help grow this game and help really business people out there capitalize with their businesses and utilizing some great tools that can be found on and off the golf course. So, Pat, thank you very much and Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you too, Ted. Thank you. It's really off to a roaring start.
Yeah, I hear you. I just had some great conversation with somebody that's going to be coming on in the months to come. Actually, he's going to be somewhat of a semi-regular guest, if you will, throughout the new year. So very excited. A lot of great things going to be happening here with the programs as well in 2016. I'm going to be talking about a few of them a little bit later on. And I see that Carolyn is finally here, so let me just bring her on, Pat, and then I'll continue on with some conversation here. Hi, Carolyn. Welcome to Golf Talk Live.
Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I've got to confess, I made a little bit of a mistake here in not realizing, and since both you and your good friend Pat are from New Jersey, I saw the line coming in and thought it was you and answered, and it turns out it's Pat. So Pat's online with us right now.
Great. Hi, Pat.
Party crasher that I am, I suppose. Hi, Carolyn. Happy New Year.
I'm
going to be quiet, though, and listen. I'm here to listen. I'll be...
Yeah, Pat, let me just, and you're welcome to jump in as we go along, but let me start off here a little bit with Carolyn. Carolyn, I've already actually done the intro for you. That's why I didn't say it when I brought you on live here. I'd already actually, as I said, I thought that was you already online.
Okay.
Let me just...
you said 7:10. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, and I thought you were calling in a little bit earlier, but let me first off, just the two of you, let me apologize a little bit. As you may have noticed already, I've got a little bit of a Barry White voice going on here tonight. It's a little bit deeper than normal, which I guess could be a good thing for some of the listeners out there. I don't know exactly what it is, so I apologize if it's breaking up a little bit here and there. So again, forgive me, ladies.
Okay.
Carolyn, I want to ask you, I guess, first off and foremost, I guess an obvious question. As I mentioned in the intro, you're a very big proponent of color, and there's an importance to that. Explain a little bit in more detail, what is your background and fascination with color? Why is color so important to our lives?
Sure. Color is critically important in our everyday lives. People are affected by color every day, whether they realize it or not. From my early days being in retail up in Boston in the 90s, I've always been around color. Color has always inspired me, and I've always been very motivated by color. It can be very soothing and at the same time be very powerful and healing for many people, if it's used correctly. I've worked with color in both the picture frame and mat board industry, the commercial window coverings industry, and now in the golf, tennis, resort industry. And honestly, after all these years, I continue to be in awe of what color can do for people once they realize its potential. One of my greatest passions is color because color affects us both psychologically, it affects our moods, it affects our behaviors, but most importantly, it affects the way it makes other people feel in our presence.
And let me ask you, because I referenced this, as I mentioned earlier in the intro, you are considered to be really an expert in color. How did you come up with, or why do you refer to your power in color? How do you sort of put that sentence together in its context?
Well, the reason I like that phrase, your power in color, is because once you ignite your power colors, it absolutely brings forth the very best of yourself. And all colors, as you know, vibrate with energy. And energy can greatly affect how we feel and how we behave. So I realized early on that one of my passions is showing people how to put their best self forward. And color is one of the most important ways that people can do that once they understand what a valuable tool it is that can help them in their everyday communication. If you pay attention to how you feel when you wear certain colors, then you'll come to know what your power colors are once you're aware of how to create a palette that really is in sync and in harmony for you. The colors, I mean, I know this sounds silly, but they will actually speak to you.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and as I again talked about before both of you came on, I had mentioned about, you know, as we go through the evening, I want to, you know, of course, tie this into golf and how it applies. And a very obvious thing that I think most golfers would recognize, of course, Tiger Woods, who is, you know, among probably the best golfers in the world, always on Sunday wore a red shirt, and without fail. Now, obviously, that was a power color for him. Excuse me. Explain why. I mean, obviously, I know you can't get into Tiger's head and explain for him, but why is that? Why is that important? That a golfer like that would choose to do that? A
color like red. That's a great question, and it's something that I was going to address a little further down into the presentation. So I'm glad you brought it up, and I can absolutely address that. Red is an extremely strong color. It's an intense color. It is an assertive color. So one of the things that people do when they want to bring forth their assertiveness, when they're going to be in a highly competitive situation, when they're going to be in a situation that could be a little bit contentious, I always recommend to people wear red because people will respect you. It brings forward strong emotion. It's an exciting color. It's intense, and it's powerful. So it doesn't surprise me at all that a guy like Tiger Woods would be drawn to a color like red because I think that for him, it just brings forward everything that he is trying to be.
Right, exactly. And we'll talk, as you said, we'll talk a little bit more as we go along here about that. But that sort of came to mind when you referenced your power and color, and you know, a lot of people obviously know that Tiger has done that throughout his career. He's always on Sundays has always worn a red shirt. Let me ask you. I did give a general, as I said, a general intro, about the company, B-Skinz. Tell us a little bit more in depth about B-Skinz. What is it, and what does the B stand for in B-Skinz?
Sure. Well, I am a co-founder of B-Skinz along with my business partner, Stacy Sorrentino. We started the company 7 years ago with 6 patterns of leggings and compression shorts for girls. Today, we are really proud to say that we have over 100 patterns and solids for women and girls. We basically launched the company around a team of girls that were looking for, this is really funny, hot pink compression shorts. And they came to us and they said, look, we're looking for hot pink. And we said, well, you know, that's something that, you know, we can look for. We were in the promotions industry. No one had it. And we decided that we were going to start off with a pattern solid of hot pink. The whole thing snowballed. The next thing we knew, as I said, we started with 6 patterns and colors of solid. And the B in B-Skinz stands for body because we believe that every body looks good in our clothing. So that regardless of your size and shape, height or weight, everyone can look beautiful if they know how to dress and in the right colors. Because if a woman exudes confidence and energy, she'll automatically look radiant. And so we felt like putting the B there, we wanted it to be an all-encompassing B so that everybody is included in our mission. Okay.
Very good. Now I know that also since you were on with myself and of course LPGA professional Cindy Miller back a little over a month and a half ago now, I know that you had actually sent her something from your product line. Tell us a little bit about. I know it's very hard because we visually can't see it, but I understand that she was quite excited about receiving that. And how did you sort of did she choose something herself, or did you sort of help her pick something out?
Yeah, what happened was we were very excited to get Cindy a sample of our skorts. Our skorts are skirts with built-in shorts. The shorts underneath are compression, so they support the leg. They don't ride up. They're a wonderful wick-away performance material. The outer skirt we have we have about 30 or 40 different patterns and tone-on tones of solid in our skorts. So what we said to Cindy was go ahead onto our website, B-Skinz.com, and choose a pattern that you really like, and we'd like to give you a skort to try. And so we did exactly that, and I have spoken to her since then, and she loved it. She loved it so much that she wanted to share it with her daughter. So now her daughter, on the premise of borrowing it, still has it. So now we're actually going to get Cindy another one so that her daughter can enjoy one and she can enjoy one also. But I was very, very happy that she loved it so much.
Well, and you know, it's interesting because, as I said, Cindy and I, of course, have been working together on our other program, and Cindy's a great. The one nice thing about Cindy, besides being an extremely hard worker at whatever she does, if she really gravitates and likes something, as she does your products, Cindy, you can't ask for a better PR person out there than Cindy Miller, because she just will speak and speak and speak about how great it is. So I'm sure you're going to see a lot of business come your way just from Cindy Miller alone. So that's fantastic.
She's terrific.
Yeah, she's great. She's a great spokesman. She's a great person for the golf industry and just a great lady in general. And that's why I take a lot of pride in working with her. Now, I want to ask you about the secret, if you will, in B-Skinz, as far as the actual product. How did you sort of come up with that? And I mean, there's obviously other products that are probably very similar, but yours has a certain uniqueness.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It does. Okay. So the thing about our products that we pride ourselves in is that our fabrics are extremely low maintenance. We use a blend of nylon and lycra. And what it does is they don't hug the body. They just they basically flow on your body shape, but they're extremely comfortable. They are very low maintenance, as I said. They can be thrown in a cold water wash. You can hang them up. They don't even need to go in the dryer. You can throw them over a chair if you're traveling. I tell people, roll them up in a ball if you're traveling in a suitcase or in a weekender, and you don't have to worry about having to deal with ironing, walking around wrinkled. One of the big concerns that we get from female golfers all the time, and just even women in general, is they hate when they wear something and an hour later they're a wrinkled mess and they've sat down or they're golfing and they're bending and moving around, and they have to worry that what they looked great in when they left their home or their hotel room, they now look like they've been out, for 10 hours. So travel-friendly, low maintenance, and believe me when I tell you, whether you wear, a size 2 or a 12 or a 15, 16 or an 8, it doesn't matter. Our products really look good on everyone. We have a full line we have golf skorts, we have tennis, we have dresses for on and off the course. And as I said, our niche is having upscale, sophisticated patterns and solids that look good on everyone, that really go with your lifestyle, that you don't have to take time out of your lifestyle to maintain these clothes. That's really how I would define it. But as far as the secret, have you ever asked yourself, why some people look more put together and polished? They're actually more confident, they're more comfortable in their own skin. They look less tired, they have more energy. I call it the it factor, regardless of their age. And truly, to really give you a simple answer, the secret is color and its powerful effects. So many people today do not realize that they are not properly putting together a plan and forethought when they buy clothing. They'll just walk into a store, they see something hanging on the rack, they say, wow, I like that, that looks great, and they buy it. And studies have shown that out of a woman's closet, and I don't know if it's the same for men, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, 20% of what they have they find themselves wearing over and over again.
Yes.
80% of their wardrobe simply hangs in their closet. And honestly, it's a shame that women aren't more aware, and men as well, that if you are aware of your power colors, and after this conversation this evening, I hope that your listeners are going to be able to use color to their advantage in all aspects of their lives. But the hidden gem beneath the surface of our skin really holds the key to unlocking this answer.
Right.
Because once you understand this undertone that we all have in our skin, it can really be the determining factor for every decision you make with regard to clothing, to shoes, to ties, whether it's makeup for women, hair color, jewelry. And I believe this applies to both men and women. Women have more items on their list of things that they're out there
Sure.
purchasing sometimes than men. But everyone can be extremely benefited from understanding what their undertones are, and furthermore, how to properly implement. When someone's teaching me something, and I go to these seminars and I'm learning different things on a variety of different topics, it's much more useful when you can actually learn how to apply it in your everyday life.
Right, exactly.
That's when I find that information becomes much more valuable. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Let me ask you, and just for those out there that maybe aren't sure what you're referring to as far as their skin's undertone color, explain what you mean by that and why knowing that information, understanding it a little bit better, is going to help them make some better choices in what they purchase.
Sure. And I'm going to show them how to determine whether it's a cool or a warm undertone to the skin. Every single one of us has a cool or a warm undertone to their skin. I would say 99% of the population, we can tell what they are, and I can teach you how to do it for yourself. So why it's so vital is because it provides a map for weaving the correct color palette. Cool skin undertones have shades of pink, red, or blue underneath the skin. Warm skin undertones have shades of peach, gold, or yellow under the skin. Now, some people are very easy to tell. You can look at some people and you can say, wow, I can see, the yellow in an olive. For instance, I am olive toned. You can
Right.
see that I have golden in my skin. You can look at other things that I'm going to show you how to do it. But, you can also look at someone else, for instance, might have very clear, very transparent white skin, and they get very pink. They get very pink undertones, and
Right.
you can see that they're very cool toned. But not everyone is so easy to determine what they are. And I have some very simple steps that I can take you through.
Sure.
That if your listeners, want to jot these steps down, it's very easy to determine whether you're cool or warm, and then we'll see what we're going to do with that information.
Okay.
So do you want me to take you through it?
Yeah. So let's say, for instance, how do I want to be able to determine whether I'm a cool or warm. So let's start with the cool. How do I determine whether I'm a cool undertone? All right.
So what you're going to do is tomorrow in the natural light, it's got to be in the natural light, go to a window or walk outside on a good day, and you want to look at your wrist, and you want to see if the veins in your wrist have more of a bluish cast or if they have more of a green cast. Cool undertoned people are going to have more veins that appear to be blue. They're going to look bluer. They're not going to have a green cast to them. Cool undertoned people, number 2, check your favorite jewelry. Do you feel better in silver or platinum? Because if you're cool toned, you're going to love wearing white gold, platinum, silver. You're not going to feel great with gold up against your skin. You might wear a special piece of jewelry that's gold, but in general, especially women, they're going to know one way or another if they are more comfortable in gold or silver jewelry. Most women immediately answer me when I ask that question.
Right.
Okay. Then I go number 3. excuse me, I go to the neutral test. Consider what neutral shades look best on you. For instance, cool-toned people, and this goes for men too. Let's talk about this for men as well. So
sure.
A bright white shirt would look better on a cool-toned man or woman as opposed to cream or off-white. That is a big, important test. If you put bright white next to you, do you feel very comfortable in it, or do you feel like it's much too stark, that it's not in harmony with you? Do you know what I'm saying? You'll know right away. Also, with cool-toned people, solid black looks very good on them because black is a very still color which complements the coolness in the undertone of the skin of someone who is a cool-toned person. The fourth thing on the list, which is also very, very important, I never know what order to put these in because they're all so important, is go and look at your eye color. I'm going to use myself as an example. I have brown eyes, so you would say, well, you might be a cool tone. Well, if I were a cool tone, which I'm not, my eyes would be a very, very deep brown, almost a black brown. If you've ever seen someone, Ted, with very, very dark brown eyes to the point that they look like a black brown, that is generally a cool-toned person. Very, very, very oftentimes the iris color will tell you. If you have blue, gray, or green eyes, you usually, and I say usually, will be a cool-toned person. Hazel, green. A lot of times you'll see people with blue eyes usually tend to be a little more, have clearer skin. You know, their skin will take on that very clear tone to it. Next thing on the list, cool-toned people, when they go out in the sun in the summer, their skin will usually turn pink first and then they burn. Do you ever notice that? If you have someone with fair, clear skin, they usually turn pink before they will actually burn in the sun. The other thing I like to do, which is very helpful for people since we can all actually picture celebrities in our minds, I'm gonna list for you a few cool undertoned celebrities that I'm thinking that your listeners might very easily identify with. Think of cool-toned celebrities like Scarlett Johansson, Anne Hathaway. All right, and as you're thinking of them, you're seeing their complexions, their eyes. Cara Delevingne, Miley Cyrus, Megan Fox, Demi Moore, Courtney Cox, Britney Spears, and Brooke Shields. All of these celebrities are cool-toned. And if you think about it, some of them have blue eyes, some of them have green eyes, some of them have very, very dark brown eyes, but they are all cool-toned celebrities, and it really helps people to then look at them and you can, kind of get a feel for, oh, yeah, I see that. That's very similar to my complexion, my eye color with my skin, et cetera, et cetera. Most of these celebrities have stylists that work with them, that they are being dressed properly, although, you're going to find they all wear black, where when I get to the warm-toned people, I'm going to talk about black. But they're usually dressed very, very appropriately because as I said, they have stylists. So let me talk about the warm-toned people. Do you have any questions, Ted, about the cool tones?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because, and since you brought up celebrities, I'm not talking about the actual fashion itself, but sometimes you will see celebrities that will have a color pattern that really does not complement their skin. And it kind of makes me wonder, especially since you just mentioned that, many of especially the more successful celebrities tend to have, somebody in their corner, if you will, that, whether that. So I often wonder why they would choose such a color that kind of goes against what you're just talking about now.
Well, it could be that they happen to just like that color and they don't have an understanding themselves of cool versus warm. Now, when a stylist comes in to work with, let's say, for instance, I'm going to pick one of these women off this list. Let's say Courtney Cox. okay?
Sure.
Courtney is, she's very bubbly and bouncy, and she's very thin. You know, she's a petite frame. She may have a particular style or certain colors that she likes, but they may not be the best colors for her from a cool tone perspective. Now, she may say to her stylist, listen, I love the color. I love gold. I love gold-toned jackets and leather and different pieces, where her stylist is, you know, obviously getting paid by her, and she says, okay, great, I'll go out and get this stuff. Well, you know, they may not be thinking about it from the right standpoint of warm versus cool. Courtney would look much better in cooler tones. So, you know, rather than wearing gold toned, she'd be better in silver toned. I'm just giving her as just an example. I just picked her off the list. So it is true that you will find them in things at times that now that you understand this, and as you come to really train your eye, and that's what you have to do. You have to train your eye to be able to spot these things when you walk into stores, so that when you're surrounded by racks and racks and racks of clothing, and you walk into these department stores or boutiques, and you've got, you know, you don't want to become overwhelmed. It is a gift to be able to walk in and say, I'm not even going to waste my time looking at these, because I know that they're not going to be in harmony with my energy and my undertones, and you go right to what looks best on you. So that's the best answer I can give you, is that someone along the way does not understand undertones to really give them the best advice, or to try to say to them, you may love that, but it's not going to be the best look on you.
Right, it's not going to complement their overall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And listen, some of these women are so beautiful that they can look even good, not great, but good in anything. You know what I'm saying? But they look even better if they were in the right colors.
Right, exactly. All right, so you were going to, let's start on the warm color, the warm undertone now.
Sure, warm undertone people. Okay. So warm undertone people, when they look at their wrist in natural light, you're going to see more of a greenish cast to the veins, because the golden yellow in our skin, and I say our because I'm a warm undertone, it's not that your veins are green, it's that the shades in your skin are going to give your veins the look that they're green, even though they're not, but they're going to look that way. Gold jewelry feels much better on warm undertoned men and women. Now, the neutral test for us, and women that have been married, and you go to a wedding dress specialist, and they start pulling out white versus ivory. Hopefully, you're going to know, okay, I need to be in ivory versus pure white. Warm undertoned women are going to look better in off whites. It doesn't have to be way off white, but it should just be a softer eggshell, ivory, off white types of colors are going to look much, much better on warm undertoned people. Black is a difficult color for warm undertoned people to wear next to the face. I wouldn't dare, suggest that warm undertoned people never wear black, because I know that people think of black as a very slenderizing color. It's a color that's sophisticated. Women love to wear it, especially in the evening. But what I will suggest, especially for warm undertoned people, if you're going to wear black next to the face, break it up with a piece of jewelry or a scarf, so that you don't have a large area of black right next to your face. What it does to warm undertoned people, because it's so out of harmony with that undertone, it is going to pull us down. It is not, and I do this test for people because a lot of them will say, come on, I wear black all the time, and I'll say, all right, let's do a test. So I'll say, okay, put this black on, I'll drape them in black, and then I'll pull out eggplant or burgundy or olive. I'll pull out another or a beautiful shade of brown, a warm brown, and I'll put that on them, and they'll look in the mirror, or I'll have people standing there, and they'll say, oh, my gosh, I had no idea how much younger I look wearing eggplant or burgundy rather than black. So that is a big thing for warm-toned people. Now, eyes. Warm-toned people, I'm going to talk about brown eyes on warm-toned people. I have a warm brown iris. I even have golden flecks in my brown irises, as opposed to having very deep brown eyes. That is a very, very big telltale that you have warm undertones. Hair color for warm undertoned people should be more in the warm category versus cool. Most hairstylists today understand warm versus cool because that's how hair color is designed and formulated. So if your hairdresser seems to have a good handle on this, terrific. If they look at you with a puzzled look on your face when you tell them, that you think you're warm undertoned, or you now know you are, and you want to warm up your hair, and they don't seem to be understanding that, then I always tell people, please get a new hairstylist, because if your hair isn't right, everything else is thrown off, everything. So lastly, when a warm undertoned person goes in the sun, usually their skin will turn more of a golden brown rather than that pinky burned look. They can still burn, don't get me wrong, we can, but it takes a little bit more for us to burn than the cool undertoned people.
Right. Okay.
All right. Now,
so do you? Now, let me just ask you. Let me ask you real quick before you go on. Do warm undertoned people tend to be more? And I don't want to sort of lump them into a box, but more like of a European or Mediterranean background? Do you think, or is that not really?
No. That's true. If you think about olive skin. So now, who has olive skin? You've got certain cultures and nationalities that are going to have olive skin that are naturally going to be. However, let me give you one example where that doesn't fall in. Kim Kardashian, you would look at her skin tone, and you would say she's probably a warm undertoned. She's not. She's actually cool undertoned. If you look at her eyes, her eye color is a very, very dark brown. I've studied her. I've read about her so much with regard to her coloring. Now, granted, Kim wears everything. She wears black. She does.
Right.
And she's so beautiful that she can pull it off. But I will tell you, when I've seen her wear warm undertones, and she does, she'll wear burgundy. She'll wear olive. She looks good in almost anything. But she actually is a cool-toned, olive-complected, and I believe that their background is it Armenian that her dad was? I want to say he might have been Armenian.
I think he was, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. He was a darker-haired, olive-complected guy. But she's one example. So, yes. But, that's not to say that every single person who's from let's say the northern hemisphere that has light skin is 100% going to be cool toned. But I will tell you this, you're going to find the majority of very white, clear complected people who are going to be more from those northern hemisphere European type countries and so forth, Eastern European, Western European, they are going to tend to be lighter eyed, more fair skinned, and they're going to be cooler toned.
Now, let me ask you, Carolyn, as well, because I want to sort of tie this in, obviously, for the golfers that are tuning in tonight.
Sure.
A lot of people, obviously, as they're getting ready for a new season, we're here in 2016, and people are going to be thinking about going out and making some purchases to get ready for a new golf season. Knowing the information that you've just shared with us, Nat, how can, and again, you can break it up in both cool and warm tone. How does a cool tone colors, how do you choose those colors in clothing for both on and off the golf course?
Sure. Okay, that's a great question. All right, so now that you understand how to determine your skin's undertones, it's important to have a chart, and I believe I have emailed you a chart. I believe that I did that the last time we spoke. Right. That shows cool versus warm undertoned people. Certainly anyone can email me. My email is sales@B-Skinz, that's BSKINZ.com. And I'll be more than happy to email anyone a chart that shows you cool versus warm while they're training their eye to see these colors. But but you need to choose correct shades that are going to create harmony for your skin, your hair, your eyes. So, now that we know that women are wearing 20% of the clothes they buy as they're going out toward the spring and buying things, cool-toned people are going to look for black, they're going to look for white, they're going to look for gray, they are going to look for a garment that's cool-toned. If you're not sure, hold it up to a white garment because you're going to see that it just pulls together. It should harmonize and look equally as crisp. The colors to keep in mind when you're shopping for color, when you're cool-toned, here are the 3 words: clear, clean, and crisp. So you're going to look for clear shades of blues, greens, pinks, purples, orange, red, all the colors. They're the clear tones. They're not going to be the oranges that look more corally. They're going to be a clear orange. They're going to be brighter, clear colors. They're very, very easy to find. Most stores have an abundance of these cool-toned colors. The test that they need, as I said, is hold it up to a pure white garment. Men need to make sure that they wear a shirt that's white, crisp, bold. Their tie colors need to have those emerald greens and clear yellows, brighter blues. Their suits can be black, gray, navy, very, very deeper tones of those colors. Accessories, obviously, for cool-toned people are going to be silver, and I could get into it a little bit more as far as, makeup, but cosmetic companies understand cool tones as well. Let me bring up an LPGA player. Look at Michelle Wee. She is a beautiful player who her energy just looks amazing in her cool undertones. If you look at her eyes, they're that very, very deep, dark color. She really exudes confidence. She's extremely poised, and she really knows how to pull her look together, and she really does wear a lot of those clear, beautiful, beautiful colors. And that's a great example.
Yeah, she does, and I've seen some pictures of her recently, and you're right. I mean, her wardrobe over the years, obviously when she was a little bit younger, was very what I call golf generic.
Yes.
Just your sort of traditional. Now she's really, obviously, as she's becoming a young adult, she's done, with school and she's playing full time on the tour. She's sort of coming into herself and being much more fashion forward and getting into some more interesting styles and things like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well as we get further along here in a moment. But
sure.
So let's talk about the warm colored folks out there that need to look at that.
Okay, absolutely. All right. So warm toned. More and more stores are starting to add in more warm toned. It used to be you'd walk into a store and all you see is black, white, gray, those very basic colors. But because people are becoming a little more attuned to this, you're starting to find retailers, like Anthropologie and many places, lots of, fabulous, even a lot of the makers of athletic wear, certainly B-Skinz. We are very much tuned to the fact that we've got to have warm versus cool. So when you're looking for warm shaded clothing, especially as we're coming into the color forecast for 2016, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that's the great news for warm-toned people because you're going to see even more of these colors. For instance, yellow greens like citrus tones and olives. Chartreuse is going to be a huge, huge color coming up. That is a wonderful color for warm-toned people. It's a very greeny yellow that is very complementary to people that have warm undertones in their skin. So you want to look for off-whites and ivories, medium to light browns, warm reds. And when I say warm reds, I mean brick reds and orange-based reds. Corals are very beautiful on warm-toned individuals. Golden shades, warm yellows, not clear yellows. They have to look a little muddy. They have to look a little golden. Warm violets, those beautiful lighter shades of purple. You can go deep as eggplant. You can go to burgundies. Maroons and burgundies are just suits for women that are warm-toned. anything like that are just wonderful in maroon and burgundy. Even on the golf course, there are beautiful clothing that you can find, skorts and tops now that you can complement that are all of these warm shades. The test there is if you hold it up to pure white, it should look a little bit muddy. It shouldn't be so clear. That's how you'll know you're correct as you're developing your eye. Okay? Olive greens. It's not just, and again, I go back to black. If you're going to wear black and you're warm toned, throw a scarf on or put a nice necklace on. At least you're going to break it up, and that piece that's right next to your neck is going to at least hopefully be something that's in a warm tone.
Now, we talked about sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, the only thing I wanted to say was, which I think I skipped over before, was, and they may have been waiting for me to say it, some of the celebrities that are warm-toned before. I know that we were talking about them, but, you've got celebrities like Jessica Alba. If you think about her, she's got, beautiful, warm undertones in her skin. It's the type of thing where once you understand this, these people just literally start to jump out at you. Michelle Pfeiffer, Selena Gomez, Eva Menendez, Renee Zellweger, Beyonce, I said Jessica Alba, Jennifer Lopez.
Now, I'm kind of surprised that I'll let you take a moment because I know the water went down the wrong way. That's okay. Pat, well, Carolyn's trying to compose herself here. Pat, let me ask you, I know you're still with us here. Now, you've obviously learned a lot from Carolyn through some of the information that she gives. How has it changed the way you look at colors now?
I have to tell you something. Carolyn, I walked through her office and had the wonderful chance to, thumb through the racks and see what she had there. And she picked out, for example, one of her dresses, and I have green eyes and brown hair, but she pulled out a very interesting combination. It was more jewel toned. It was green and purple, and it had some brown, and I was happy that I had some cool brown boots I hadn't thought about in a while. And I have to tell you, it's mind-boggling how many people came up to me when I wore it. I wore it out to a networking event, and people were stopping me and turning me around and going, wow, you look really great. Like, the remarks and the comments, they kind of like they thought I looked better than normal, and they weren't sure why. Many of them did specifically comment on the dress, but I even did pick up a bunch of comments around, you look great, what's different about you, there's a glow, there's something. So the choices that she made on my behalf were actually able to change that energy, that vibration, and people actually verbally commented about it, which I thought was pretty cool. So as she's describing this to you now, I was just sitting there shaking my head going, because it really literally does happen. And the other thing is wearing the skorts. I was out shopping in a mall one day. I was heading out, and then I was going to go play golf in the afternoon, but I had on one of my skorts, and people were just stopping. They're like, the color, the fabric, this lays on you so nicely. So it was really interesting. People just randomly, strangers stopping me and asking me, where did I get that? That's really cool. And the fact that I was perfectly well-dressed, appropriately dressed in the mall, and then able to turn around and go jump on the golf course later. I think that's one of the things I enjoy, is that there's a lot of fun color, but if you put on a solid top, for example, I had on a, kind of a brighter combination bottom, that I put on a solid top and a jacket, and I was able to go from a business lunch meeting and then, lose the jacket, put on the rest of my golf outfit, and be able to switch from the business lunch setting. I wasn't in a super fancy corporate, that type of lunch setting, don't get me wrong, but I was able to really make the transformation from one to the other very easily. So I very much appreciate that flexibility, because often you don't have the time, or you don't want to have to carry 2 full bags of clothing, wear something, and carry another whole wardrobe. So it gives me the flexibility to do both.
Right. And, Pat, to your point, it's really confidence. Once you start dressing in a palette that is very complementary to your overall undertone, you really start to understand how you can turn your closet over and pull everything together, and it really starts to make you feel confident. And I think it ups your game, whether you're on the golf course or off, because, you brought up before Tiger wearing the red. He knows that that's a power color for him. He knows it.
Right.
And he feels more confident, to use him as an example. I'm sure he feels more confident. He knows that he just feels it's an energy is really what it is. And I know, for instance, when I wear certain power colors, for me, it's olive greens and burgundies. When I wear those colors, there's a feeling I have, and people do stop me and they'll say, did you do something different? You look so, you look good, and they don't really know why either. To your point, Pat, but you're harmonized. That's really what you are. You've harmonized, and it really is. It's a great way to give you more confidence, especially with a game of golf where confidence is such a big part of it.
And that brings me to this next question, where the men are concerned. As an example, you talked about that. There's obviously, this is something that applies to men, not just women. So how do they develop their own sort of power colors for both on and off the golf course? Because men are, we're a little bit different creatures, if you will. We don't tend to buy as much, different outfits and things like that. But we need to be conscious of what we're wearing. Because Lord only knows, there's a lot of times you go out on the golf course and you can just, somebody will walk up to the first tee and as you said, that they're just very well put together and there's a confidence about them. And then there's others that come out there with outfits. And a lot of people don't understand that you do feel differently depending on how you look. So how do they sort of pull themselves together and find their power colors? Yes.
It's very important for men to do that. I mean, if you look at Ricky Fowler and Puma, they've brought orange to the forefront. Orange is such a big color for men. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Men have to experiment within their palette. Let's say you're a cool-toned guy and you're out there golfing. There's no reason why you shouldn't take a chance and, add a little color into your wardrobe. I think it's called experimentation. Be willing to try something different and see how you feel in it. I can tell you there are men that I know that golf and they say, when I wear royal blue as opposed to navy, I feel different. I feel more energetic. I just feel that I have more energy, and it ups their game. I don't think that men should be afraid of color. I think that, you do see men wearing orange and yellow and greens and even pink. Even pink on men. I mean, if you're the type of person who has a lot of fun with color, and you understand its effects on people, look, wearing red, for instance, is very powerful as an example, because when you're the recipient of looking at the person in red, it is definitely, you start to feel a little bit inferior because red is such an assertive color. If you're the type of man that likes to feel that way, you want to bring your power forward, find those colors. For a warm-toned man, he might find something in an orange tone, more of an orange-toned red, or an orange itself, and wear that color will look fantastic. Or something in a burgundy or a cranberry color, which is going to be a little bit warmer, but it's still in the red family. There are, within each color, whether it's red or orange or green or blue, there are cool and warm tones, so even men can get out there and wear color. And it's funny, you will start to gravitate towards certain colors that you identify with, and that can become your signature color. I think everyone should have signature colors that that when you wear them, you say to yourself, I have my Moxie on today, I'm wearing this color today. And if you say it, chances are you live it.
Well, and also, Carolyn, let me ask you this, because, with a lot of the fashions that are out there, you'll see a lot of mixed, and not the color itself, but you might see multiple colors in an outfit. Like, for instance, in a shirt, some golf shirts. Now, you don't see them as much anymore. They used to be, and I don't want to say striped, certainly not pinstriped, but you might have multiple colors. Do you look for the predominant or the dominant color if whether you're warm or cold, cool person.
Right.
Is there a dominant color that you look for in that pattern?
There is. I mean, I try to look for patterns that will have mostly warm, and if there's a little bit of something else, that's okay. But yes, I think as long as the predominant colors are cool or warm, it's fine. If you enjoy wearing pattern, I mean, look, B-Skinz, we're a company that's all about pattern.
Exactly.
And I love pattern. So you can wear patterns. I just think that you have to, like you said, you look for a garment that's going to have predominantly warm versus cool tones in that pattern. And it works. Okay. It's fine.
The reason why I asked that is because a lot of the especially in the golf industry right now, you're seeing a lot of, as you mentioned, Ricky Fowler will have, orange in his repertoire, if you will, but sometimes they'll throw a splash of something else in there, but obviously it's something that complements. So I was just curious on that. Now let me ask you, now that we have a little better understanding of really how to dress based on our undertone of color, what I guess psychological perceptions about colors can be taken away from this that we can utilize in our daily situations?
Sure. Okay. So we'll put aside whether it's warm or cool. Let me give you an quick overview of the psychological aspects, because companies, as we all know, spend millions of dollars researching the psychological effect that color has on us consumers. So the research is so useful to us because it helps us to understand. For instance, I mean, the biggest one that always stands out to me is Nexium. We're all trained it, right? It's a little purple pill. They know that the color purple has certain characteristics to it, and I'll start with purple. It's a regal color. It's unique. It makes you feel special. The wearer of purple wants to be noticed. It sends a message that you're a unique person. You're one of a kind. Sometimes people don't like to wear purple in large amounts, but it's a wonderful color that you can mix in to your wardrobe, whether you're warm or cool toned. Red, as we discussed, is a very strong, intense, powerful color. Studies have shown that people with assertive personalities have to be careful with red, because if you put it on and you're already a very assertive person, sometimes it can become overpowering to other people. So if you have a very large personality and you're very, big energy, I've always joked with people that I don't wear a lot of red for that very reason. I'm a very large energy, even though I'm a small person. And sometimes when I wear red, I do feel like it's overpowering. But if you want to use it to be assertive and to give that feeling of intensity and power, it works wonderfully. Blues are. Go ahead. Do you have a question?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Blues can be very calming. They usually promote healing. That's men's number one color is blue. Men will choose blue over any other color. Why? The studies show that it's reliable and stable. If you notice, you'll see the president's ties are either usually red or blue. They want to come across either very authoritative and assertive, or they want to come across as being very stable and reliable. If you want to exude confidence and you want people to be calm in your presence, wear blue. You see a lot of male golfers wearing navy. I notice a lot of navy. Very reliable. It's very stable. You look like you're in control of yourself when you're wearing blue. So I would say that's very helpful for that. Greens are very, they're also very refreshing. It's a very nurturing color. It's a color that is good luck. It's always been known for money, fertility. It's very popular if someone's if they're trying to get to calming, like in a more natural environment. As a matter of fact, if you go into a TV studio, they always put their guests in a green room while they're waiting to go on air. Did you know that?
Yes.
Because the green room is very tranquil and refreshing, and it puts their guests in a good mindset before they come on. So if you really want to have a connection with nature, that's a good way to do it. Orange is a very interesting color. I'll tell you quickly. It's very energetic and creative. It brings across a hint of playfulness. I love the color for golfers. I think it's fantastic because it is something that is unpredictable. Orange is a color that causes people to act unpredictable. McDonald's uses a lot of orange in their restaurants for this reason. It's harder for people to maintain self-control. So if you want to throw your opponent off a little bit, you wear orange. It's great for you, but the people who are around you are going to be a little bit thrown off. It's attention getting, and it creates what's called an unpredictable mood.
So it kind of
it
sort of unbalances the opponent. In other words, it sort of creates an unbalance for the opponent. Okay.
Yes. But it's a very energetic and creative color for the person wearing it. It's a very cool color, meaning fun. When I say cool,
right.
Pinks are very interesting. They're usually thought of as being very feminine.
Right.
I'm sorry, I have like a postnasal drip. If now I'm making you cough. It can throw people off also because pink. It's a funny story about pink. The head coach for the Iowa Hawkeyes painted their opposing locker room pink, and everybody said, well, why the heck did you do that? Because he said it's going to mess with the minds of our opposing team coming in because it creates a little bit of confusion. Pink is a color that will do that if you're seeing tons of it around you. It's also non-intimidating.
Right.
So if you don't want to intimidate the people around you, lighter, softer pinks. Obviously, the deep magentas are going to be a little bit stronger and less feminine. Yellow can also create a little bit of frustration if you see it in large amounts around you, but in small amounts, it's very cheerful. Babies are known to cry more in yellow rooms for some reason. They think because the color can be, it causes them to lose their, little tempers a little bit easier. I don't mean like newborns, but babies that their eyes are open and they're aware of their surroundings. Yellow obviously will brighten up a dreary day, but you don't want to wear it in huge amounts. It's a great color to mix in with other colors. For instance, greens or blues works very, very well, and it can add a little bit of energy and cheerfulness in small amounts. We talked about purple being very regal and special. White is a great color because it's a fresh outlook, new beginnings. It's associated with a clean slate. Yeah, it gets rid of any nagging feelings of not being confident. A white shirt or a blouse can feel like a new opportunity. Pure white, it's crisp and clean. It's a great color to use as a base color to put other colors around. Grays and blacks, I do want to just mention, they're the colors with the least movement. They're very still. So if you want to blend in, women love wearing black, obviously, because it's very slimming. For men, obviously, it's a color that people like to wear at night. Whether you're wearing a sweater or a jacket, a lot of people will turn to black. It's a very good color when you want to create a serious mood. Black is taken as a more serious color. As I said, it's the color with the least amount of movement. Why it's the worst color to wear near our faces as we age? Simply because it will highlight any imperfections. That's really the reason. It's because it's a very still color. But it certainly is very effective when you want to be serious. When there's a very somber mood, everyone usually will turn to black. And you can wear it. You just have to be aware. Put a necklace on if you're a woman. Men can wear it open so that it's, you can put a different color tie on with it, or you can wear a shirt open if you're going to have on something black. Brown is very earthy and homey. You tend to feel very down to earth. It's very non-threatening. It will cause people to pour their hearts out to you. If you're looking for people to open up and speak about things, if you wear brown, if you're an interviewer, it's a very good color because you put people at ease and make them feel very comfortable. So that's just an overview of basic psychology of color. That's always fun to kind of play around a little bit. There's a lot of exciting colors that we're going to see coming up that we can really have a lot of fun with.
What are some of the trends, do you think, coming out for this year in 2016?
Well, Pantone has just come out recently with their color forecast. There's a lot of very exciting things that I think are going to play really well on the golf course as well. Jewel tones are going to be very big this year. You're going to see ruby reds, and evergreen is going to be a very big color, which is a combination of a green and blue. It's more of a blue-green, which is a great color. You're going to see teals are going to be very, very popular coming up in 16 as we head into a little further into the year. Rather than just navy, you're going to see indigo, which is a combination of navy and more of a cobalt. So it takes on a more purple tone of a navy. Grape purple is going to be a very, very big color. Lots of purple in 2016. You're going to also see some earth tones coming onto the scene. Pantone calls them their desert bloom colors. For instance, olives and orangey pinks, they call it persimmon, which is a pinky orange. Marigolds, which are those warm undertones. So aside from the clear colors, there's a beautiful warm palette that they're also introducing. Khakis. Taupe is going to be very big. I think you're going to see, I know B-Skinz, we are coming out with some beautiful tone-on-tone in taupes and khakis that are very neutral, that people can build around. You know, women can choose other colors to wear on the top, but we're getting into marigolds and rust colors and beautiful shades of neutrals, warm browns, aside from all the beautiful jewel tones. And then, of course, you know, bubblegum pink never goes away. But what they're doing with the pinks this year, and I think this will be really great for men. I think for men, they can really be wearing those beautiful shirts that are melon and corals because they really do look great on men. Aqua is also going to be a very big color this year, and aqua is another color that I think plays very well for men, as well as orchid, which is a lighter shade of purple, which, again, men and women both look very good in both of those tones. And expect to see a lot of chartreuse, which is that greeny yellow. So the vibrant brights are going to, you'll still see them, but they're warming up a little bit as opposed to only seeing just the clear tones. You're going to have more to choose from, and I think it's going to be a wonderful year for both warm and cool tone people. I'm very excited.
Well, and this brings into the next area, and as I mentioned in the beginning, you know, I wanted to really allow you an opportunity to explain why color is so important in both psychologically and also physically. But obviously, as we move into the new year, people are going to be thinking about, well, you know, I want to get out there and maybe add to my line, if you will, of golf apparel, and especially for both men and women, but particularly women want to get out and start buying things for the new year as things start to warm up. So obviously the pro shops at many golf courses are really a primary place where a lot of golfers find their clothing. So is there any advice you can give for those that want to sort of improve their overall experience?
Absolutely. Look, when you walk into a pro shop, you're not dealing with a large amount of square footage. So I always say, you know, they want to get the most they can out of that amount of square footage. So I always, you know, and let's say that we're looking at it from the pro shop now, you know, they need to put complementary colors near each other. You know, put your blues with your oranges and your greens and pinks together and your purples and yellows. I mean, those are things that are naturally going to harmonize very well together. I always like to see tops and bottoms. A lot of women will not buy an item unless they can see an outfit. If I can see the outfit, I am much more likely to buy two pieces rather than just walking in and buying one. And the one mistake that I see a lot of pro shops make is they don't have their employees dressed in their clothes, especially the women. When you can see a model, and you can see a woman walking around in something that you carry, you're going to sell that all day long. Because I walk in and I say, wow, that looks beautiful. And she says, well, fantastic. I have it in your size. Such an important thing to do. I also think that putting travel packages together for people. I think that, a lot of people, especially golfers, are taking weekend trips. They're traveling. They're playing at other clubs. If you can give them an incentive, and I know as a consumer, if I walk into my pro shop and they say, look, if you buy 2 skorts and a top and a dress, we're going to bundle that together, because that could actually become a weekend warrior package where if you throw that in a bag, hopefully it's B-Skinz, hopefully you throw it in your bag. I'm kidding. And you have low maintenance clothing that you can jump on the plane or get in your car and go. I think it's nice to give people an incentive that you can do these multiple purchase packages. I think that's a great way for people as we approach the startup of the golf season, especially up here in the Northeast. I know that, you want to add a few pieces. It's great if you can do that in one place where maybe there can be a little bit of a savings. I also think bringing in trunk shows is a great way to keep your merchandise fresh. You don't want to carry a lot in a small amount of square footage. But if you bring in different manufacturers that you carry and you do a trunk show for a week or two, and you allow people to come in and buy things that you don't normally carry because you don't have the space, I know that I would appreciate that, and it gives me a reason to want to go into the pro shop more often than saying, oh, I've already been in there, I know everything that they have. I also think bringing in people from the manufacturer like myself that can come in and hold little mini, wine and cheese discussions about a variety of topics to do with fashion in golf, whether you're talking about the history of golf and fashion and how it's evolved and how it is today, or we're talking warm versus cool. There's a wide array of things to talk about. I think it's nice to bring in people from the manufacturer to speak to women that are coming in, or you have a little event. And I just think it brings an energy into the pro shop, and it gives women and men a reason to want to go in there to see what's new. Yeah, you're right. And
Yeah, I agree that you have to be willing to mix it up a little bit, and especially in this economy that we've had in a lot of cases over the last several years for a lot of businesses, especially in the golf industry. There has certainly been a decline in a lot of areas, and I think that a lot of the pro shops and a lot of the golf courses out there really need to sort of change things the way that they've been doing business, because it's not just because of the economy, but also the way people look at things and the way people make purchases nowadays is different than what they might have done 20 years ago. And I think some of these courses that are kind of doing the same thing they have been for 20 or 30 years need to sort of step up their game, if you will, if they want to attract new buyers, and that they can't just sort of keep sticking with the status quo.
I agree.
And having said that, what are some great takeaway advice that you can give the golfers out there that want to sort of revamp and change their wardrobes, if you will, to bring their power to the surface? What do you suggest that they do?
Okay, so some of the things I suggest is obviously be open-minded to try something new. Step out of yourself. Determine your color, your undertone. Once you understand that, take a look at your closet. Decide what's working and what's not. Begin by adding a few basic items in. So let's say, let's talk golf. So if I'm a woman, I'm going to go out immediately and I'm going to want to buy a couple of skorts, maybe a pair of pants, and a couple of tops. That will get me started. For men, by all means, once you determine whether you're cool versus warm, add a few new colored shirts in. Most of your bottoms are going to be rather neutral anyway, but I would definitely bring in a few fun colors just to kind of ramp up your game, and you will feel completely re-energized and ready to start the season. If you know what you're doing, as I said, I'm happy to email anyone that color chart, or they can get it from yourself as well. But I think starting to train your eye to bring in a few basic items into your wardrobe as we start the season off, I think would be a fantastic thing to do. And as you get more comfortable, believe me, it won't take you long. You'll know immediately what is going to feel right, and you'll start to develop this wonderful ensemble of, a beautiful palette of things that mix and match together, and you're going to get so much more mileage out of the clothes that you have, and you'll find that you really wear your clothes as opposed to just buying things because they look good on the rack.
Yeah, and that's something, unfortunately, that a lot of men do when they're making this, but more so than women do. Women are much more, I think, savvy shoppers when it comes to that sort of thing. But I think you're seeing a big shift, particularly with the younger generation coming up now. A lot of the young men, as you mentioned, Ricky Fowler and some of the others on tour, are starting to be a little bit different with their choices as well. Now, I want to, speaking of the tours, I want to mention you've got some very interesting and very exciting information to share. That you've actually created some signature pieces for several of the Symetra and the LPGA Tour players. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We've been so lucky to work closely with a couple of our distributors who are involved in charity and fundraising work. We started off by choosing. They have 6 LPGA players that we put 6 of our patterns are named for them on their own website that they carry. B-Skinz. This is Golf for Her, and they are a very large carrier of B-Skinz. And what they did was they actually named 6 of our patterns that are exclusives for them, named after these women, and to honor one of them in particular, actually wanted to do some charity and fundraising work, so we've gotten involved with that as well. We picked a skirt in the fall for the Morgan Pressel Foundation. It's a beautiful pink pattern that was named after Morgan's mom, and B-Skinz is contributing a headband in the same pattern for free with every purchase, just to get involved and to give back. But we love to work with organizations and individuals, to raise money for different causes. But being able to design custom prints for LPGA players is a wonderful honor for us, and it's something that I hope that we get to do more into the future.
Yeah, and the lady, the reason, obviously I know you wanted to mention that, that's certainly a great feather, if you will, in your cap to be able to be affiliated with some of the players and through the organization, the LPGA organization. But, we've seen over the years, particularly with the women, as I said, if you go back, 20 or 30 years and, even on the LPGA Tour, certainly the ladies, for that time were certainly great, some great outfits together, but the fashion has changed so much now, and you're seeing some very innovative and very creative styles out in the LPGA and Symetra Tour right now. And that's certainly great to have your organization, B-Skinz, to be a part of that change. Now, Pat, I know you're still with us as well. I want to get you to jump back very quickly for this next part here. Just to remind everybody, we talked about this on the other show, but I want you to remind them about the upcoming Meadowlands Golf Expo, which is just around the corner. Remind everybody of the dates and a little bit about that, and then Carolyn, obviously, you're going to be involved in that as well, so share with the listeners what your involvement will be.
Absolutely happy to do that. Carolyn is going to be our host with the most. She is actually our premier fashion sponsor and will be the MC for our family golf fashion show, so we will have wonderful clothing. It's not just your old man cigar smoking golf expo, we promise. And we've got some amazing fashion in store. And Carolyn will be actually emceeing our fashion show held over the weekend. The dates, again, it's the Metropolitan Golf Expo at the Meadowlands, which is in Secaucus, New Jersey, right outside New York City. The dates are February 19th to the 21st. It's a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And we've got a wonderful roster of speakers lining up. We just actually got Bill Castor, who is a renowned, highly honored PGA professional. He actually runs the first tee for Plainfield up in New Jersey. So we just came back from the PGA of America Award. So very highly regarded, award-winning golfer who's doing a lot to grow the game and get families and kids involved, which is just so hugely important. We've got Brian Crowell from Slice Free Golf. We've got Frank Darby, who's the head coach of the Manhattan Jaspers. He's from Sirius XM Radio. We're going to have programs on Get Golf Healthy, which is nutrition, fitness, corrective golf exercise. We have one of the first LPGA Teachers of the Year. She won the Nancy Lopez Award. Oh my God, I just went blank here. Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's all right.
Anyway, so funny. Debbie O'Connell. I talk to her every week, just saw her 2 days ago, so it's like a dear friend, so that's really bad. But anyway, Debbie O'Connell is going to do a talk on Get Golf Positive. It's all about mindset. So we've got how to rock your golf tournament with Golf Squid, all kinds of things. So I'm going to do a program about rock your business and your life, teaching people how to put together a 90-day game plan to have an outrageous, wonderful golf season. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. We actually have the one-handed lady golfer, Gianna Rojas, who was the March of Dimes poster child as a young child and is now working for the March of Dimes, but she's a wonderful, wonderful role model. She is so much fun to play golf with. We did a charity outing together, and she's become very involved in the getting disadvantaged or more ability, special-abled golfers out there in the limelight, working with PGA Hope, with Rich O'Brien in North Carolina. So we've got a lot of really wonderful, wonderful content. Carolyn will be front and center, cornerstone to presenting that. Again, that's February 19th to the 21st, and we are offering some special promotion for, we are having 5 shows across this year, and if people will reach out to me, I will work with them, and we're doing buy 4 shows, get the 5th free. So I'm trying to really make sure we've got wonderful business-to-business opportunities, as well as working with, the 7,000 to 10,000 consumers that will be coming through the door, which is pretty cool, because my goal is to make sure everybody's making their money back before they ever even, the show ever takes place. I think that's a real win-win way to grow the game, both for the businesses involved as well as for the consumers that are coming. So that's one. And then the other piece of it is with we're doing every week, we do the Thursday tips at 2. So I've got a teleseminar. We're doing training. So Carolyn presented on your Power and Color. Today we featured Gary Robinson, the president of Golf Squid, talking about rocking your golf program. And next Thursday, I will actually be doing a training on rock your public speaking. And, Ted, if you're around and want to join me, I'd love to have you jump on with me at 2 o'clock next Thursday. We're going to be teaching people how to put their best foot forward and how to share their message and their gifts. So as you hear Carolyn talking about your Power and Color, she's not just here talking about sports and dresses. She's really sharing her expertise and why she fell in love with the industry. And people have so many wonderful gifts inside. We're trying to help bring that out so that if some of the people involved in the golf world want to become better speakers and want to learn how to, whether they want to be better in a one-to-one coaching environment, they want to be better in over a lunch table with 5 or 6 folks, or they want to someday aspire to speaking on the stage at the PGA show, we're going to be offering a free a training call workshop next Thursday at 2 o'clock. And that URL to register is thebusinessboomer.com/public speaking. So it's thebusinessboomer.com/public speaking. It's a free 1-hour training course, and you're welcome to, if you want to jump on and join me and share some tips, Ted, you are a master public speaker. So I'm always, that door's open.
Well, thank you. I'll try to nurse myself back to health, and I don't know. I might show up with my Barry White voice here. Like I said, it might serve well. I'm going to do my very best to take you up on your offer. That certainly sounds like it would be a lot of fun. And Carolyn, just as we wrap things up here, I want you to let's bring it all full circle, if you will. Some great information and some great tips really you've given here tonight about color and how important it is, and really how it plays an integral part of our everyday life. But I want to talk about, as we wrap it up here, as I mentioned, the fashion, particularly for the female golfers out there, because that's really an area of golf that is very fast developing here with the help of not only yourself, but great gals like Pat and many others in the profession. Talk about how really it's evolving and how it has evolved over the years, and how today's trends and fashions are sort of meeting the needs of today's women.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Look, dating back to before World War II, when golf first became popular, it was always considered an elite sport for women. But the problem was, along with that image, came the expectation that golfers who were women would maintain an extremely conservative, and very low-profile persona. It sure doesn't sound like the golfers of today, does it?
No.
Right? The documented story that stands out to me has been told about a woman, this is funny, who was actually escorted off the course to the pro shop to purchase a $50 pair of shorts that were longer. They came out and they determined by measuring that her shorts were not long enough. So she returned to her game with her original shorts in her bag, and she was $50 in the hole, so to speak, because she wasn't dressed appropriately. Today, I know there are many private clubs that still require longer lengths for women, and that's okay. We accommodate for longer lengths. We happen to be a company, because we're a made in the U.S.A. company, we can custom make, so that if I get an email or an order from someone that says, I need a skort, this is my size, but this is the length I need, we're always going to accommodate that person. But today, a lot of private clubs that still require a collared shirt, longer lengths, but we're finding that those guidelines are loosening up, in many, many places. Emerging companies like ourselves and many others that are manufacturing now, especially for women. We view golf as an upscale sport that should be treated in a very fashion-forward manner with an exciting level of sophistication. That's how I would describe it. We believe, though, that stretch activewear, I think is a trend that you're going to see for today's woman because it meets her lifestyle. I think women don't want to be confined. I think stretch activewear makes so much more sense. It moves with you. You're bending, you're swinging. It needs to be something that wicks away from the skin. I know that our club collection is centered around all of that. It's travel-friendly and stretch fabrics on skorts and dresses that are very comfortable and that require very little maintenance. But I will say this, women today can be perfectly at home on the golf course, whether they're wearing shorts, long pants, or a skort. I think the key is anything goes. You need to find what styles feel the best on you, get the right colors, ramp up your confidence, bring out your power, and I think that the options are out there for people. I think it's just a matter of finding companies that are addressing women, that are willing to do custom work. I think that's also very important for today's women.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And the thing is, excuse me, pardon me, my voice is starting to break up a little bit more now, but so I apologize to the listeners out there if I'm actually, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm starting to sound a little bit more like Peter Brady from the Brady Bunch when he was going through puberty. But anyways, that's another story. But you raised a very interesting point, Carolyn, about a lot of the changes that are going on in the golf industry, particularly for women, and it's really a positive. And one of the points that you just made about really a lot of the clubs and the courses not having to make changes, if they want to attract not just more women, but also want to attract some of the younger, potential golfers out there, they've got to be a little bit more forward-thinking in what their approach is. And I think this is something that the golf industry is starting to recognize now more and more with the help of entrepreneurs such as yourself and of course, of Pat, bringing that to the forefront. Because what's happened traditionally with golf is they've sort of settled with the status quo for a long time, and it's been somewhat of a turnoff. And what you're seeing now is sort of a surgence, if you will, with a lot of young entrepreneurs and forward-thinking people that are coming out and saying, hey, wait a minute, we don't want to stick with just the status quo. We want to be able to move forward in this industry, and the only way to do that is to bring creative thinking minds into the field, if you will, and get them actively working on not just designs, but just changing the sort of landscape of golf in general in order to be able to truly grow this game. And that's the only way you're going to get it done, is to start including people that really have not been included, and that's obviously primarily women.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think to attract new golfers, you want to have an exciting environment. I think that it's exciting to put new clothes on and go out there and play a game. And golf is a wonderful game because let's face it, you're on these beautiful golf courses surrounded by trees. You're outside. I mean, it's a wonderful, beautiful place to play a sport. And I think to have clothing that is equally as exciting, but yet still functional. I mean, we're not talking about getting away from function. If we can combine function with fashion, I think that is a combination that is going to really increase the amount of people that are going to be attracted to come out and pick up the game.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And on that note, ladies, we have to bring it to a close. I certainly enjoyed it, and I've certainly learned some things this evening from you as well, Carolyn, about color and how important role it plays. And I've always tried to address what I feel was not only appropriate, but was best complementing my appearance and bringing out the colors that I felt worked best with me. But you certainly opened my eyes a little bit more yet. So I'm gonna take your advice to heart, and as I prepare for this upcoming season, try to be a little bit more forward-thinking myself as well. So thank you very much for sharing that with the audience tonight. And very quickly, I'm going to let you, and then Pat, I'll let you do it as well. Just share with the audience how they can get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more about that, and obviously about your great company, B-Skinz.
Oh, thank you, and thank you very much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this program, and I truly enjoy it. If anyone has questions or they would like the color charts or would like to reach out to me, our website is B-Skinz.com. That's B as in boy, SKINZ.com. My email is sales@bskinz.com. And I welcome any listeners who would have questions or would like to reach out to me. More than happy to be of help. And I look forward to seeing everyone at the upcoming Golf Expo. We're very, very excited to be a part of these expos, and we're very much looking forward to the one next month.
Perfect. Thank you again, Carolyn. And Pat, do you want to, again, very quickly just remind everybody of the expo coming up, and then also how they can reach out to you to get more information from you as well?
Absolutely. Happy to do that. Thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
Meadowlands Metropolitan Golf Expo, February 19th to 21st up in northern New Jersey. And there's actually 5 shows from the New York, New Jersey area on up through Massachusetts. You can reach me, Pat Roquet, at 973-809-4445. That's 973-809-4445. You can reach me via email at pat@thebusinessboomer.com. That's thebusinessboomer.com. Or to sign up for next Thursday's tips at 2, free teleseminar around Lock Your Public Speaking. That will be www.thebusinessboomer.com/public speaking, and that's a free 1-hour talk on tips to rock your public speaking, learn how to be a better presenter, get over stage fright, and get your message out there. So happy to help. Thank you, Ted, for having us. Happy New Year, and feel better.
I certainly will. I'm feeling better already. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining me this evening on Golf Talk Live. And Carolyn, I'm going to reach out to you in the next few days, probably after the weekend, something that I wanted to speak to you about as well with respect to your organization. So I'll do that, of course, not on air. But anyways, ladies, thank you very much.
Terrific.
And much continued success. And I look forward to having you guys back on again in future dates.
And I'll see you in Orlando, Ted.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right, take care.
All righty. Okay,
all right,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was my very special guest tonight, Carolyn Sammarro from B-Skinz.com, who has a great company of outerwear and apparel, really available for purchase immediately. So I would suggest you go to B-Skinz.com. And very interesting discussion about color. And the reason why I wanted her really on this evening, I know that there wasn't really a lot of per se golf talk until towards the end, but the reason why I wanted to do that is, really there has to be a lot of changes in this industry. It's not just the equipment industry, and it's not in golf, the equipment side of things, and it's not just what the course can do as far as sprucing up the actual golf course in order to attract new people. In order for this industry to really thrive and boom again, there's a lot of things that have to come into play. And fashion is certainly one of it. We've seen much on the tours, and more often what happens, and it happens as Carolyn mentioned earlier, in the celebrity world, once you start seeing fashion and trends happening there, it will eventually trickle down into mainstream. And that's really what has to happen here in golf. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted Carolyn Sammarro to join me this evening and talk about her company and about color in general, because it does play an important role. There is a lot of truth, as I mentioned earlier a number of times, and as her and I discussed. A great example, of course, is Tiger Woods wearing red on Sundays. That was obviously a power color, as she suggested, for him as well. And there was a reason why he did that. It gave him a lot of confidence, and it will give you a lot of confidence as well, making that a little bit more a better selection when you go out to do your shopping here in the next little bit as you get ready for a great 2016. And it gives you a little bit pause, and I hope that you will take her up on her offer and reach out to Carolyn at sales@bskins.com. Reach out to her if you want more information, and go to bskins.com if you're interested in looking at some of the products and some of the great outerwear that she provides as well, or activewear, that she provides on her website. So go to bskins.com. And also, again, a special thank you to Pat Roquet for joining me this evening. She is also a great public speaker and a great asset to business development here in golf, and an avid golfer as well. So thank you, Pat, for all of your thoughts and input as well over the last little while. And you can get in touch with her at pat@thebusinessboomer.com is her email address as well. Thank you very much, ladies. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show, I'm going to just take a moment or two more, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Lots of great things going to be happening here in 2016 for the next probably next few weeks or so. I'm just going to sort of basically have some light programming here. I went a little longer than I anticipated tonight, but I'm happy about it anyways. But probably going to be a little bit lighter here for the next few weeks as we move into the 2016. But coming up March 3rd, I believe, is the first Thursday in March. Coach's Corner is going to be returning back. Got some great things going to be happening with that as well. Going to be changing it up a little bit more. Also very excited that many, in fact, all of the, and then some new ones of the coaches and teacher professionals that were on previous Coach's Corner sessions have all joined up again for this 2016 season. We're going to be doing some different things. Going to be having some contests, some contests this year. Going to be having some great prizes and giveaways throughout the broadcast coming up here in the months to come. So make sure that you come back and join us for the Coach's Corner segments. Want to get you guys involved as well in that format. So we'll talk about that I'll talk about that, as I said, in the next few weeks as we lead up to a great 2016. I want to take this opportunity to really thank all of the listeners worldwide for tuning into Golf Talk Live each and every week. I really do try to bring some interesting guests on the show and have an opportunity to talk about some things that normally we can't just always talk about swing mechanics and talk about golf courses and things like that. Sometimes we have to think out of the box, and I hope I've done that by start tonight, and really bring other areas that can all work together in the golf industry, and we have to really be able to, as I said, think outside of the box. And for those of you that maybe work at a golf facility, Carolyn is certainly a great person to get in touch with if you're looking to make some changes within the pro shop and willing to boost up those sales. She'd be a great person to reach out to and talk to about how to utilize and tap into color and make things a little bit better and help those sales as well. So I want to thank all of the listeners, and I want to thank all of the guests over 2015, and I'm looking forward to even a better 2016 as the show continues to grow and expand. Lots of great things coming up here in this new year, and as I said, they'll unfold as the year progresses. So thank you to all of the listeners worldwide for tuning in, as I said. Special thanks to the sponsors and supporters, Mr. Jonathan Laird from South Coast Golf Guide. Go to southcoastgolfguide.com. And you can find out some great golf courses to play here in the southeastern part of the United States, from Texas right over here to the northwest part of Florida, and all states in between. Also, Meredith Kirk from Meredith Kirk Golf. You can go to meredithkirk.com and learn more information from her as well. She's a great teacher professional and a great entrepreneur as well. Mr. Nicky and his wife, Tiffany Litherland, thank you for all of your help and support for spreading the word about the program over the last several years. I really appreciate all of your efforts as well, and I'm looking forward to getting Nikki. Of course, Nicky Litherland is a golf professional as well, originally from Australia, him and his wife, and now reside here in the United States. I'm looking forward to having them join me here on the program here in the next little while, and I'll keep you posted on that as well. Also, Sean Kelly is the owner of linkedgolfers.com, which was originally started on LinkedIn, which is a business network. And he has always been a good supporter and enjoyed listening to the show. And I want to thank him as well. And you can go to linkedgolfers.com, which is his website, which is a great platform. He's taken that golf group from LinkedIn and really brought it out into the more global forum, if you will, on linkedgolfers.com. So make sure you check that website as well. Mr. Peter Doyle from Doyle Golf Solutions over in Ireland. Great teacher professional, great club maker as well, a club fitter, one of the best in the area. Thank you for all of your continued support. And lastly, I did things a little bit differently tonight in my thank yous. I wanted to thank this gentleman here who we've sort of come to an understanding here in the next little while. He's been a big supporter of the program, Mr. Bernie Pinder from Ontic Golf. He's the owner and founder of Ontic Golf, and he really has a great line of custom putters and custom designed putters and fitted, and we're going to be talking more about that as time goes on. But Bernie is going to play an integral part. He's actually going to be coming on more of a sponsorship role here in the months to come for this program, and we'll be talking about, we'll have a few giveaways throughout the year from Ontic Golf, a great, as I said, great custom designed putters, and we'll talk more about that in the months, in weeks and months to come. But that's Ontic Golf. Go to onticgolf.com. In fact, I'm just getting ready to help them launch a brand new website here any day now, so I'll keep you posted with that. And I'm also going to be launching my own new website, tedjodorico.com. That'll be coming out here, I'm hoping sometime just after the PGA show coming up the last week of January. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in each and every week. And again, I apologize for my voice coming in and out here a little bit. I hope it didn't bother you too much. I'll try to be a little bit better for next week. Just struggling a little bit here with a cold or something, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And God bless everybody. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday right here on Golf Talk Live. Thanks, everybody.